Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. All right, welcome back. Hello, and welcome back to Balancing Unhinged. And in today's episode, we are going to dive into the world of real estate because I'm a realtor. And I just wanted to introduce myself as a realtor because whether you're a first-time buyer or an aspiring investor or just curious about the market, this episode is for you. So let's start with the basics. What is real estate? Simply put, real estate refers to land and any permanent structures attached to it. This includes residential homes, commercial properties, and even raw vacant land. So the types of real estate, there are 4 types of real estate. Residential real estate, which includes homes that most of us live in, like single-family homes, condos, and multifamily units. It's where most of us will spend the majority of the real estate market time looking at homes and where we're going to live. And then you've got commercial real estate that encompasses properties that are used for business purposes like office buildings, real estate spaces, retail spaces like stores and restaurants and warehouses. And then industrial real estate. This is for manufacturing, production, and distribution of goods, thinking more like, factories and logistics centers. And then land. That includes undeveloped property, agricultural land, vacant land that can be used to be developed in the future. So then we walk around and take a look at our buying process. Also, if anybody's interested in becoming a realtor, just let me know because the first thing you have to do is take a course and then you get a certification that you took the course and passed the course. And then depending on your state, like Florida, you have to take a state licensing exam to take a test for the state. And then after that, you choose a brokerage to join so that you can activate your license. And you activate your license or you don't. And then you can join a board or something like that in your local area, depending on what your broker wants to do. And within the first 2 years, you have to be a sales associate. And then after that, you could go ahead and try to be a broker, which would be like a rinse and repeat almost. You take another course and then you have to take a licensing exam for that too. And then you have to keep that maintained, so that you can keep abreast with what is going on in the market. But now let's talk about the buying process. If you're considering purchasing real estate, here are some key steps. You can determine your budget. And I'll tell you, I work with a lot of buyers. So it's important that when you are a buyer that you have a good realtor to work with because there are a lot of people out there that work for these brokerages that are salespeople. So part of the reason why I became a realtor is because I wanted to help people, I've purchased houses or just one house. I'm on my second house now. But, in the purchasing process of buying my house, there's a lot of pressure that comes and I want to alleviate the pressure. One of my last jobs that I used to work at was super high pressure. And we would be calling people and practically lying, honestly. We would be selling ads. I used to sell advertising. And we would have to fax out the contract. So I'd be like, okay, well, I sent you the contract via email. All you have to do is print it out and sign it because we actually didn't have DocuSign back then, which was stupid. We should have had DocuSign, which now we have DocuSign, which is where you can sign stuff electronically. A lot of the times you can do electronic signing, which is great. But yeah, dude, back in the day, I used to have to tell people, oh, I got a fax. It was blank. Was that you? And I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. So I really got into real estate because I enjoy it. I like learning about it. And when I was buying and selling my own property, I was getting kind of frustrated with my realtors that I was working with, who all remain nameless. But I had fired a realtor and honestly, I'm bad with confrontation. So I made my husband do it. But so it's not fun to fire a realtor when you think they're not doing a good job. and stuff. So like I just like to learn about stuff and do the best I can with everything that I do. All right. So I'm here to help. And like I was just with somebody today doing some showings, and I'm like, I want to keep it low pressure. And then I was also with somebody else recently, and we listed their house for sale, and she had some concerns, like I was like, listen, if you want to, whatever you want to do, I'm here for you. If you want to change something about something, like if that's up to you, that's up to you. Because the thing about real estate is to like, if you were going to sell your house, like some people say, for example, they want you to cold call. So they'll be like, oh, when you get into the office, do all these cold calls and call these people from this area or whatever, called farming. So then like, wherever you're farming, wherever you're doing your research and where we're trying to reach out to some new people. But so the recommendation is to, reach out to people, say, hey, are you interested in selling your house? And it's funny because, once you find your forever home, like it's priceless. Okay. So there are some people you end up calling them and you're like, hey, I can see that you've lived there for, X amount of years or whatever. And I did a drive by, don't look so good, but I was wondering if maybe you want to sell it or something. Like, are you tired of living there? What's going on? And then, some people are like, oh man, well, I'd sell it like if I got a good offer. And then you like look at this house or piece of land or something or whatever. And to them, it's their dream property. So for them, it is priceless. And you go, how much would you sell this for? And, say maybe, for example, if the market value was like 500,000 or whatever. And then they're like, I would sell it for like 5 million or something like that. And you just like, some people are just like unrealistic, which is fine. Because I mean, like so that's what value is, right? It's like, what is it worth to me? So it's like, I don't go skiing, right? So if somebody was like, oh, do you want these skis? They're worth $10,000, but I'll give them to you for 1,000. I'd be like, nah, that's not worth it to me. Because of it. What do you mean? It's 90% off. I'm like, I mean, that's a good deal. Sure. But it's not worth it for me. So like, say for example, yeah. So like I call people up and I'll be like, oh man, I would love it if that person wanted to list their property at like a reasonable market value. That would be great. But to them, it's worth millions and millions of dollars because like how much is it worth sometimes to move? Like some people don't want to move. Everything is subjective. So I love this because you really get to get a lot of different perspectives from people. And like, say, for example, I show some houses to some people and then you show them like a bunch of different houses, and they picked them and they were like, I want to go see these ones. And then you get there and like, as soon as you get there, they're like, I hate this house. And you're like, why'd you want to go see it? I mean, whatever. But yeah, so I'm like, I mean, you just have to, I just want to help people. And honestly, it's fun. I think it's fun. It's so fun. But you've got to, if you're considering purchasing a real estate, here are some key steps: determining your budget. So you can have a range, you can have a certain dollar amount, but you got to just understand what you can afford. It's important also to get pre-approved for a mortgage if you need one, because a lot of people will not accept an offer unless they have proof of funds. So if you don't have the cash to buy the whole house right now, and you can't prove that, then you do have to do a pre-approval for like some sort of a mortgage and then get that information from the mortgage company so that we can include that. And then, having that agent that can guide you through the process and provide you the real estate market insights and help you negotiate offers is going to be super helpful. I'm reading that book right now. Actually, it's called Stop, Never Stop, Don't Stop Stopping, Never Stop Stopping. Crap, I can't remember, but I'm trying to just keep talking so that you don't walk away from me. What's it called? I forgot the name of it. It's okay. We'll remember it later. But it's by some FBI guy. Like the FBI guy wrote this book about negotiation. Never Say Die Like the Goonies. I don't know. Anyways, but I'm reading that book and obviously it's really good. But anyways, it's all about like the consultative sales process, right? So I used to train people on the consultative sales process and it's all about asking questions, right? So I'm never going to know what you're thinking unless you tell me what you're thinking. And I'll never know what you're thinking unless I ask you what you're thinking. And if I don't ask you like specific things, then I won't know specific things. Did you know that like at restaurants and stuff, I'm a mystery shopper also. So I've been a mystery shopper for like 20 years. And I go into restaurants and do all these different reports on the service and timing and stuff like that. And just paying attention to tons of different details, like within the restaurant while I'm there. I'm like with my friends or whatever. It looks like I'm there with my friends, but I'm actually looking around trying to find the manager, see what they're doing, look at the servers and see what they're doing, look at all the food runners, see what they're doing, see who's wearing name tags. I love knowing people's names. But anyways, so what I'm saying is it's important to be able to see what's going on, and have a good realtor that knows what is going on and seeing what things are going for and then knowing what they're worth, because we all want to know what things are worth, and the value of what it's worth to you and what it's worth to me could be different. But also it's nice to see, if there is a consensus in the neighborhood, because sometimes you can look at a house and you'd be like, oh, well, that would be worth that much to me. But then you see like what's being sold in the neighborhood and you're like, wow, I didn't know that other stuff in the neighborhood was actually being sold for that amount. That's pretty cool to know that. So I love doing comps, and I'm an Excel spreadsheet dweeb, so that's really fun. But anyways, if you look at listings online, if you attend open houses, if you just like drive through neighborhoods, if you're local, if you can do that, then that's going to be super helpful, because sometimes you end up moving into a house, you don't know what's around the corner. That actually happened to be my first house, and I moved into that house, and it was an okay neighborhood and stuff and whatever, but it's just like, the longer you're there, the more you learn about it, and the more you know, the more information you have, and then it kind of changes your judgment sometimes. But yeah, so looking online is really good. I recommend homes.com is my favorite. I find that one seems to be the most updated because a lot of people use Zillow, and I use Zillow too. But for some reason, Zillow doesn't seem, sometimes there's like some like really weird updating going on with Zillow. I can't put my finger on it. I actually used to work also for a online directory, and it was like a company where we were doing our own website, and I used to sell advertising on that too. But yeah, so like the thing about doing online listings and stuff is that all those companies like Zillow and homes.com and realtor.com, they're actually owned by lawyers and realtor brokers, so that those people get the access into the other MLSs independently themselves, so that they'll be like licensed in like all the states or something. Because like sometimes depending on what kind of lawyer you are, you could be like a licensed realtor in like the whole country or something like that. So all these companies are owned by lawyers and realtors who are brokers and broker lawyers and stuff like that. So sometimes they don't have the best access, which is fine. But anyways, the best thing really to do is to work with a licensed agent, because they can give you all the real-time information and help you with making your offer. Because once you find the right property, you find that dream home, you find that property that, you just find to be me checking all the boxes, like I want a fireplace, I want a 2-car garage, I want lights, and I want a nice neighborhood and stuff like that. I want to feel safe when I'm home, I want to feel safe, and I want to feel like I'm getting a good deal. I want to feel like I'm not getting taken advantage of, right? So like, that's why I do this and honestly, like some people ask me sometimes like, oh, go make them do that. I actually, I don't even want to say it right now, but I have a story about and I don't want to say when it was, but dude, there was one time I used to work for this guy, and I went in there and they gave me this lead, and they go, okay, hey, go call this person, but they're looking for this, but you need to bait and switch them into this. And I was like, bait and switch? Nah, I don't like that. So honestly, I'm not down to bait and switch. I'm not trying to make people do stuff against their will and stuff and whatever. I'm like, people need to move and people need to live, and I just want to help them do that. So I will not be bait and switching anybody for any reason. Even if it costs me the sale or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I didn't even end up working with that customer because she wanted a rental. She wanted a rental. I couldn't help her. I said, I cannot help you. If you want to spend that amount of money, I have like some houses that might fit if you got a mortgage. And she said, nope, I don't want to get a mortgage. And I was like, well, I don't want to make you get one, you know? I don't know if anybody's ever worked with a realtor and they were like, oh, they made me do this. Oh my God, you guys. So I have an IUD. Can I tell you, like, honestly, like when I had my son and I decided that I wanted to do whatever, so I didn't whatever, I went to the doctor for a procedure. And when I got there, they told me I couldn't get the procedure because I was too young. And I was like, ugh, whatever, dude. And then he like offered me something else. And I was like, well, I've heard about that. I don't even want that. And I ended up doing it anyways. And you know what? Like I had to live with that. Like I'm still living with it now. Like it's in my body. Like I got an IUD. And I felt like I got bait and switched when I went to that appointment. It was terrible. So, and I hate that feeling. So I don't want other people to feel that way, especially when they think about me. You know what I mean? So I think I actually just texted someone the other day. I was like, one of my least favorite things is to know that someone doesn't like me. You know, if I know somebody doesn't like me, like that hurts my feelings, bro. What was it? I used to be an LG rep, and one of the like job descriptions was like, be likable. And I was like, I can do that. So I'm trying to be likable over here. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to make you recommend me to people. Like, I'm not trying to get you to like be like owning a house and being like, Amber made me buy this house. And I'm like, I mean, Amber sold you the house, but I mean, she didn't, you know, I helped you buy the house. I didn't make you buy the house. You know, I don't want to do that. I'm not here for that. Listen, if you don't want it, change your mind. That's cool with me. That's fine. Even I've got a friend. We're going out later today, and somebody that she recommended to me, they were in and out of this deal twice. They said, we made an offer, and then they were like, oh, you know what? Actually, never mind. And then we did something else, and they were like, oh, you know, actually, never mind. And then we were out. And then now they want to go again. And that's fine with me. That's fine, because that's going to make them happy. That's going to make them comfortable. That's going to make them feel safe. This whole purchasing a new house, you know, like Maslow's hierarchy of whatever it's called. Yeah, no, not Maslow, whatever. I forget. Anyways, not Maslow, whatever. Pavlov? No. Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? It's like security, safety, shelter, freaking number one, right? We need to feel safe in our shelter, and we need to be feeling safe in our decisions that we make. This is a scary world, man. Lots of weird stuff happens to people. I don't like it. I don't like it. So if there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. Like, and then I just had a friend who, a new friend. I'm really excited to have this new friend. I love making friends. And I have this new friend who asked me to show her a rental property. And again, I was like, I don't really do rentals, but let me check my thing and see if I can show it to you. And I could. I was able to get her in. And she got the rental. And she did it without me. I let her in the door, but I was like, I just want to see it too. And now she's living there. And last week, I brought her a housewarming gift. And I was like, listen, if you want to buy a house, let me know. And she was like, maybe next year. And I was like, cool, let's be friends. So I'm glad that she's happy in her new place. And I discovered a new neighborhood in the process. So I learned something. And I was like, wow, that's a great neighborhood. So now I'm excited because I know about a new neighborhood now. A hidden gem, if you will, right? So, but yeah, you can make an offer once you find the right property, and your agent can help you draft up the offer, and then you can be prepared to make some negotiations because sometimes sellers have certain needs and desires and all that good stuff. And sometimes our offers don't align with those, but there's only one way to find out, you know? All right. So then, after you make your offer and it is accepted, you might have like a counter offer or not. Some people around here straight up go, oh, we just want your highest and best. And I'm like, I mean, that's it, bro. Or what do you mean exactly? You know, I literally had a customer that we put in an offer. It was okay. The offer was pretty good. But they go, oh, we have other offers and they're very similar to yours. So what's your highest and best? And then my customer was like, well, what do you mean? What do you want? I would do what you wanted if I knew what you wanted, but I don't. So they walked away. They go, you know what? That wasn't a counter offer. It was just a, how much money can I get from you? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, that's weird. I was like, honestly, like I was mad turned off by that. And then we found out that the house sold for less than we offered. So like they were like literally bluffing or something or whatever. And I'm like, you can't do that to some people. So real estate's really interesting because it's very subjective. We have what's called the meeting of the minds, right? So it's like just two people have to agree. And I'm like, you know, a lot of time. And then we have like these like divorce listings too. And like people are getting divorced and they like hate each other, you know, or whatever. But they're like, maybe they hate each other, right? Say, for example, if there's like a divorced couple that needs to sell their house and they hate each other and they hate this house, but they want all the money that they can get. So then like one agrees and the other one doesn't. And then it's like a whole thing. So it's, you know, just got to think about, you know, sometimes imagine just if you were doing this and just think of two people that you know, like what would that guy say? What do you think that guy would say? Like literally just perspective, like imagining what do you think the outcome could be? But then, I mean, part of the balance and like the wellness journey, right, is kind of like not worrying about that, right? So like, again, like I was saying to my customer, like she was getting a little bit frustrated and she's like, Amber, convince me to buy this house. And I was like, I don't want to. I was like, I can't convince you to buy this house. I don't want you to say it was Amber's idea. I was like, I mean, me personally, I think it's a really good house. I would tell you if I thought it was a bad house. So there's like another thing, you know, like a lot of people that go, oh, well, it's good to have a good realtor because like if they've, you know, like if they've ever flipped or I haven't flipped, but I mean, I kind of did. I had my old house, but it wasn't like a flip. It was like a 7-year flip, I guess, or whatever. But we owned it for 7 years and then we fixed it up and whatever. But that wasn't like the plan. But there are some people that, you know, they flip the houses and that's what they do. So it is very important to make sure that you have the property inspected for any issues because like some people will say one thing, you know, like, have you ever met somebody that didn't tell you the truth? Come on. So just think about it. It's important to have the property inspected for any issues and getting it appraised to ensure it's worth the asking price. Yeah, because, you know, sometimes if you have to get a loan for the house, like, and it comes in like below, the appraisal value comes in below the agreed upon selling price. So like, say, for example, if you were selling a house for 500,000, and then somebody agreed to buy it for 500,000, but then the appraisal came in at like 400,000. And then your mortgage company might say something like, oh, we're only going to give you the mortgage for 400,000 because that's what it's appraised for. And then you're like, oh shit, how do I get $100,000? And at that point you can ask for like sometimes you can ask for a reduction. So that would be cool too. Sometimes you can do that. And then you can like work on it after that because after the home inspection, sometimes things come up that are like not exactly as you thought they would be, like maybe some work needs to get done or something like that. Or they say this thing's no good and you have to replace it. Then you could ask like the seller to replace it or give you some money as a discount off the asking price or whatever the agreed upon price was. So like you have your inspection period and then after you get everything done, you can like go back and renegotiate and be like, oh, well, this came up. And then you have your inspection period also so that during that period, if stuff comes up, you just walk away. So like, yeah, I had this customer that they were looking at this house. We got the house inspection done. Within the first 4 days, we got the inspection done. They had a 2-week inspection period. So, and then they decided to walk away. So, they got their, money back. So, and then they, during the closing process, after everything gets done, if it is successful, hopefully everything goes well and you got your offer accepted. Maybe there was a counter offer and a negotiation process going on, maybe. Sometimes maybe not. That's cool. And then you do your home inspection, get your insurance and stuff. And then we close. So that's like the final step where you get your keys and the ownership is transferred and you'll sign a lot of paperwork. Sometimes I've seen closings take up to like 3 hours, but sometimes they can take like 30 minutes, 60 minutes. It's also when you're going to pay the closing costs, because closing on a home, if you're the seller or the buyer, will have closing costs because you'll pay for the compensation towards the realtors. And then we'll have like a title agency. The title agency is going to write up all the legal documentation. So you pay usually, I don't know, like $1,000 or $2,000 for that. And then you have to pay for all the inspections that you want to do. Maybe there's a septic. Maybe there's the home inspection. Maybe you have to do a 4-point wind mitigation, all these other different inspections that you could do. And then we close. So after everything goes good and you see it's a good house and I can live there for a long time and everything's going to be fine, or I can rent it out if you're investing. Because if anybody's interested in investing, that's like a whole different ballgame. So those ones you want to learn about, like different investment strategies, like renting, getting rental properties, or just flipping houses, or even like REITs, are real estate investment trusts. Cause like sometimes you can get like a real estate investment trust and you just start collecting houses and then flipping them that way. You could wholesale them or something like that and buy them cheap out of foreclosure. You always want to start small and consider starting with like a single family or a small multifamily to minimize your risk. You don't want to buy like a whole 500 units of condos or something like that, which there's actually a story that I heard someone I know did that like back in the 60s. And then he ended up living in the condo, beachside condo. Now it's doing well, but like back when it was first made, like they didn't have enough buyers for it. I think they ended up actually losing it in foreclosure. I can't remember what the whole story was, but I think that was the trade winds here in St. Augustine. There was a story about that. And then understanding the market. So like researching the local markets to find areas with potential growth. So here in St. Augustine, like a lot of the rental properties are on the beach, near the pier, near downtown, stuff like that. But then we have a college population too. So I was actually just talking to one of my neighbors because I'm running for the HOA in my neighborhood. And my neighbor was talking about wanting to get into rental properties himself. And he was like, looking at like a specific type of condo in a very specific corner. And he was like, oh, I would love to consider something over there. And so I know the market. I was like, I think that those are apartments for rent. I don't think that you can even buy any of those. But I'm happy to see if there are any other condos that are nearby that are in that general vicinity where you can target those people that you think would be good in that area, which is why he wanted that corner. But yeah, and then building a team, surrounding yourself with professionals, agents, inspectors, contractors who can help you succeed, especially when you're investing, because like if you're looking at like a bunch of different properties, you want to make sure that they have like a good ROI and you're going to get a good return on your investment. And cap rates are important when you're looking at commercial properties, or if you're looking at investments for rentals and things like that. How much am I going to profit off of this? Because you definitely don't want to purchase something that's going to be a rental or an Airbnb if you don't think that it's going to have high occupancy, or if you don't think that people are going to be willing to pay the amount that you want to charge. So looking into that is very important. And then common challenges, of course, real estate isn't without its challenges. Some common issues include fluctuating market conditions, unexpected repair costs, which is why it's very important to do everything within that inspection period. And then, of course, the emotional roller coaster that comes with buying or selling a home. Like sometimes I feel more like a counselor, like even like I'm glad that I have been studying some like holistic counseling stuff because, and then the consultative sales really comes in handy because, people say, I don't want to do this or, whatever, I want to do this. I don't want to do that. And, as a realtor, you got to like keep your cool with them and all that. And then make sure that we can maintain our relationships because we build our rapport. You want to get a good first impression going, but you got to keep that going. You know what I'm saying? It's got to just be a good person. So that's why I like doing this, is because I think that deep down I am a good person. It just comes easily to do. And you want to help people make good life choices because, and that's why I do my financial wellness segments also. But like, it's important to know what is incoming and what is outgoing financially, and having fiscal responsibility for yourself and your family. It's very important. So that wraps up our Real Estate 101 episode, and I hope you found this information helpful, whether you're buying or selling or investing. Remember, real estate can be a powerful tool for building wealth, and it's essential for you to do your homework and approach it with care. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe and leave a review. Join me next time as we continue our journey of finding balance in the chaos of life. Thanks for listening to Balancing Unhinged. Be well. Namaste. Ta-ta. Au revoir. Kaseo. Ciao. Bye-bye. Special thanks to everybody who helped make this possible. This episode is brought to you by Amber Shah, the Shah of Saint Augustine from Balancing Unhinged. We'll see you next time. Bye.